Hey there again, everyone. This is sort of the round two, part two of remote learning expectations. Hopefully you watched the first round of that. I will link that in the description box down below. It should be in the same post in Google Classroom that this one is in. Hopefully you notice I fixed my video issue. Well, I got a better camera, so that's good news. So hopefully from here on out, we shouldn't be watching a terrible pixelated video. But anyway, the purpose of this, I've already gone over a lot of the expectations for remote learning, digital learning, but there were several things that I did not address in that first video, either because it didn't occur to me to address it or I didn't really have an answer for it yet, just additional things that I've thought of that I want to make sure we're all on the same page about before we get going here. So let's go ahead and jump in so that this doesn't run too long. First of all, one of the things that I'm going to be doing, and you may have already noticed this posted in Google Classroom, is I'm going to post every week at the end of the week a weekly overview like this for the following week. So it'll be posted by Friday, like right now when I'm filming this, it's Friday, and it's for the next week. And this goes through, in fact, I'm going to pull it up here right now so you can see what I'm talking about. It has, of course, for each day of the week, what videos, like the notes, PowerPoints, videos that you need to watch and go through, what assignments you will need to complete when they are due. I will post any other information that may be necessary, like for example, when we have, if there's Zoom office hours going on that day, oftentimes there may not be anything there. And then there's this looking ahead column where I'll go over big things, mainly tests that are going to be happening the following week. That way you won't be caught off guard. You'll notice that our first test is the Wednesday, the second week of school. You know, I didn't want you to find that out on Monday. So big things that are coming up the following week, I'll go ahead and let you know when those are coming so they're not quite so much a surprise. And I'll talk about tests here in just a moment. A few things about this overview. This overview will not have any live links in it. So nothing in here are you going to be able to click on and go ahead and take a look at. I'm not going to be updating it like that. The videos and such, you may be able to go ahead and find those. They're on YouTube because I do hope to keep myself up to speed on those where they're published a couple of days before they're actually needed, but I don't know if I'd recommend that. But like, for example, you can see on here right now that you have a PPC, that stands for Production Possibilities Curve practice sheet on Wednesday. You cannot go into Google Classroom already and find that. I won't be posting that until Wednesday. Wednesday morning is when that will show up. So again, it's not a here's everything out in advance so you can just do it whenever in the week you like. Things are still, you know, across this row are going to be not showing up in Google Classroom until that morning, but that way you kind of already know what to expect. It might help you budget your time a little bit better. It might serve as kind of a let me check off the list and make sure I did everything I was supposed to do this week, so forth and so on. Let me also call your attention to the due dates of when things are going to be due, when assignments are going to be due. Now, I have decided, I thought a lot about it, about how I wanted to do this. And what I thought would be the most fair and best for everyone is I've decided to adopt as a standard rule, when I assign something, it will then be due on the third day. So a 3-day kind of rule for most things, unless it's something that's longer or for some reason I want you to be working over it over a couple of days. And that's probably going to be the case with some of your stuff. But for example, you can see on Monday, I will be assigning you a little story analysis about the crow and the pitcher. I'm assigning it on Monday. The due date is Wednesday. Now, does that mean it will take you 3 days to do it? Absolutely not. You can probably do that assignment in about 10 or 15 minutes. And I would expect, and my recommendation to you, is to do the stuff on the days that it's actually being put out there. I hope that by the end of each day, I see most of those assignments already turned in. The reason I'm making it 3 days is to provide a little flexibility, because I realize not everybody is in the same situation. Some of you may be sharing a computer with multiple people in the house. Some of you may be utilizing the mobile hotspots that the school is putting out on the buses. Some of you may be having to wait until the evening when you can go over to a relative's house to use their internet. And so that's why I made the due dates a little bit lengthier than they really need to be, to give people that opportunity. So once again, that does not mean wait until Wednesday, wait until Thursday. You need to go ahead and get it done. I would recommend the day it is assigned, because you need to be doing something every single day. That's just to provide that extra flexibility for those people that may be in a little bit more of a difficult situation when it comes to that. So And if you ever get in a situation where that's still not enough, just communicate that and we'll try to see what we can do. Communication is going to be key in all of this. So that's what I mean by the due dates. I hope that makes sense. Let's see, anything else on here? I think that's pretty much it for the overview. Again, it's not no active links here. It's just so you kind of have in advance what's going on. Don't wait to the last minute on anything. All right, let's talk about tests. You noticed on the overview here that it mentions you have a test the second week of school. First of all, please expect that tests are going to come much more quickly now that we are on a traditional block schedule. You all have been on the modified block schedule up until now. And the thing about traditional block that you need to be aware of, and it's neither a good or a bad thing, it just is, and it just sort of is what you make of it, is that you will be testing, it will feel like all the time, because we have to get done now by December in a class that would normally take us till May. So that means stuff gets piled on more quickly. And whereas I would say we have a test like every 2.5 to 3 weeks on an all year situation, whether it be block or periods, when it comes to a block, it's like maybe not exactly once a week, but more like every 6 or 7 days. So you're going to be testing quite a lot. So make sure that you just don't be alarmed by that when you feel like we have a test this week and another one next week. It will happen quick. But you got to remember, we're condensing what would normally be X number of tests over 4 9 weeks into X number of tests over 2 9 weeks. So that's the reason for that. Now, as far as tests go, we didn't test in the spring. This class, is all seniors. So last spring, they didn't really do anything once we shut down. Tests will happen this time, and they will count as test grades, which are 50% of your overall grade. The way I'm planning to do tests, and some of this I'm still ironing out the details, but this is my plan. Now, it says here they're going to be open-ended discussion type questions. For you guys, it's not so much essays, but for econ, it's working out problems. It's drawing graphs. It's showing your work. That's how it would be on the AP exam. But there won't be any multiple choice is my point. If we were in the classroom, and as of right now, the plan for AP exams is that some of it will be multiple choice. But my plan right now is that you won't have multiple choice on your test because it's too easy for you to cheat. So your tests are going to be all open-ended questions, more working out problems, you got to show your work, that kind of stuff. It will most likely be done in Google Forms, and my hope is I'm working on and doing some preliminary work to try to make sure, I'm pretty sure I can do it, to where the Google form will be timed to where you have a limit of how long you can be have that Google form open before it's going to submit it for you. I don't know what that time limit's going to be, probably no more than an hour, but it will have a little timer on it clicking, going down, so that you can't just have it open for hours and hours while you try to figure things out, okay? It is technically open notes and open book. Well, you don't really have a book, but it's technically open notes because I can't stop you from doing that while you're at home. This is how the AP exams worked in the spring. However, it will be obvious to me if you copied. It is probably, again, I'm ironing out the details, but it is probably going to be a situation where you will not all have the exact same tests and the exact same questions, because these are going to be problems that you have to work out. You have to show your work. You have to show me your graphs. If you don't know what you're doing and you haven't practiced your skills, the notes aren't going to help you. So do not expect, I can just copy stuff from my notes, all that sort of thing. It will be stuff that you cannot Google, and it will be stuff that it's easy for me to tell if you did Google it, if you did copy somebody else's work, that kind of thing. So just be aware of that. That is my plan. With the graphing and all of that, it is probably going to require you to take pictures of your work, of your graphs and your drawings, and upload them. So make sure that, just be aware of that. I don't want you to be caught off guard by that. That's most likely how we're going to do that, because a lot of it is stuff that has to be drawn out. So that's my plan. We may possibly be able to use Jamboard for that. I'm not entirely sure. Quite possible, but we'll work on that. So it may be an option where you can either take a picture of something or use Jamboard. If you don't know what Jamboard is, you'll learn. It's really easy. I encourage you to look at it. It's a Google application, and it's really cool. So take a look at Jamboard if you get a chance. But anyway, don't take that as this is going to be easy, I can just cheat on everything. You can't. And if I, suspect that you copied it, if I suspect that it wasn't your work, if I suspect that it came from Google, you're not going to get credit. And that's how things worked on the AP exams in the spring, and it seemed to work pretty well. So it's one of those situations where You can look in your notes all you want, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to be successful. So learn your material, learn your content, do your work, ask questions. This is a class where you got to do. You got to get away from lecture, and you just got to do. And you got to practice, and you got to struggle with it and get in the weeds. Quickly about Remind. Make sure that you're signed up for it. Do not expect me to send remind messages about every little thing. I am not going to send out a remind message every day saying, hey, don't forget this is due today. Don't forget to turn in this. Go watch this video. Hey, we got Zoom in 5 minutes. I'm not going to be doing that because all of that is right here. All of that is in Google Classroom. I am not going to send out reminds about bunches of stuff. Reminds are going to be for big changes, for updates, for things like that. Something's not working, just kind of general communication. But as far as day-to-day stuff, do not expect me to use it because I won't. So you've got to stay on top of things. There are plenty of other ways for you to get that information. Let's talk about AP exam because I did not mention that in the first video. First of all, AP exams are required. We do require our students enrolled in AP classes to sit for the AP exam. If you do not sit for AP exam, your AP credit will be denied. So your transcript will not say AP. Now, last year you may have heard people were able to opt out of that. That was because of that situation that we were in. Per Dr. Cook, no one's opting out this year. At the moment, the College Board's line is that they are anticipating exams to be normal in the spring. But even if they're not, and even if the College Board says we'll refund your money or anything like that, Dr. Cook has said everybody is sitting for AP exams. No matter if they end up virtual or whatever happens, everybody does have to take AP exams. So do not expect opting out to be an option this year the way that it was last year. Everybody takes them. Your exam date for AP Micro is Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. So that's the day that we are shooting for. The fee for AP exams is $110, $15 if you're on free and reduced lunch. That will be due in December. I don't know what day in December, probably the last day before the semester is over, but that is when you will have to pay that fee. Now, here's where we get into a little bit of a sticky situation. They tried to put all the AP classes in the second semester so that you would be in those classes when the exams happen. But obviously, for scheduling reasons, that wasn't possible for all of them. And you guys, we kind of got, I don't know if it's the short end of the stick, but we're in the first semester. So the challenge that we have here is that you're going to be in this class to December. We end in December, and then don't take that exam until May 12th. So that's like 4 months for you to forget everything. And Econ's a class that, it's easy to forget things. So there will be study sessions in the second semester. I don't know exactly when those will be. They will be required. Dr. Cook has said that there will be study sessions and we are able to require them. So you will have to come to some of those. I don't know how many. We will talk about that and you will be a part of that conversation. We'll work together to figure out what's going to work best for everyone. If we need to, hopefully we'll be back in the building by then, but if we need to do those after school, if we need to do them on the weekend, if we need to do, bunches of short ones, or we just need to do 3 or 4 long ones, we may need to do them virtually again. I don't know, but to expect that will definitely happen, and that will be a requirement that you attend those study sessions. So that's the deal with the AP exam. Everything that I know as of this moment. Zoom meetings and Zoom office hours. They are optional, but they are highly encouraged. I can't say that enough for y'all. Whereas I don't expect history students to really need to get on there all that much unless they have a specific question. It is going to benefit you without question to be on that Zoom, even if you don't have a question. My plan is to start off by answering any questions that you have, going over anything from the assignments that you're not clear on, and then, unlike what I'm doing in history, I intend to have several practice problems, as many as we can get through in our time together, to then throw out to you, and we'll work on and go over together so we can make sure that you're staying on top of things and that you're learning it. Like I've said multiple times, this is a class you learn by doing. So the more practice opportunities you can get, the better. So we will work things together, as well as I'll present you with some new stuff, but I cannot require it. That brings me to other kinds of questions you might have. If you have an individual issue, such as an issue with your grade, you're not sure why you got a grade on something, or you think I made a mistake with your grade, which does happen a lot with the virtual platform. It's really going to be better for you to email me those concerns. For one thing, there will be other people in on that Zoom meeting. So for your own privacy reasons, I would not bring that up in front of everybody unless there's something you just don't care about. But also, we need to respect our time. And those technical things can typically be worked out through email and that kind of stuff. So please avoid asking those kinds of questions in the Zoom meeting, and so let's stick to content as best we can during all of that. I may switch to Google Meet at some point because it's already there in Google Classroom, but for right now we are going to use Zoom because that's what I originally said. But just pay attention to announcements about the possibility of switching to Google Meet. Lastly, final reminders: communicate, communicate, communicate. I can't say that enough. I'm going to be as vocal as I can, putting stuff on Google Classroom, remind messages, email, whatever. But you have to be listening. So I'll definitely be giving it to you, but you have to be listening. So you need to check your email at least twice a day. School email. I'd recommend in the morning and again in the afternoon. You need to check your remind messages, and you need to make sure your remind notifications are on. You need to check Google Classroom every single day. If there is some kind of an issue going on, and I know that is potentially going to happen, whether it's because of illness and those kinds of things, you need to communicate with somebody what's going on. Don't just ghost me or all your other teachers, for a month and then come back and go, well, this happened and I couldn't do my work. Communicate with us up front. You can email me, send me a message through Remind. If that's not working or you have an internet issue, call the front office and they will leave me a message to call you back, or they may even be able to patch you through to my room. You've got to communicate. We are communicating all we can, but you have to be on the listening end of that. And remember, as I said before, saying that you were not aware, that you didn't know you were supposed to be doing this and you didn't know that had been assigned, that will no longer be an excuse, because if you didn't know, that's because you're not doing all these things that are listed right here, not doing all this stuff. So please make sure you're communicating. We're going to be fine. There's going to be bumps in the road. I don't doubt that for a second. There's going to be issues. There's going to be things that are unforeseen. Something's going to change. But if we're communicating with each other and I will be as flexible as I can be while still holding you accountable. But if you will do that, I promise that we're going to be okay and we're going to be successful and we're going to have a great year, even if it is all online. Hopefully it won't be. So until then, I look forward to seeing you online, and we'll see you soon.